All right. So, hello everyone. This is an exclusive interview series with successful business analysis practitioners. I am Rashmi, your host for this session, and this interview is intended to provide inputs to the aspiring candidates who are on their business analyst journey. And today we have invited Harsh Jayara, who is a business analyst professional, and he has recently cracked CBAP certification examination, that is certification in business analysis practitioners, which is said to be one of the toughest challenging in the domain. So welcome Harsh, and many congratulations on the CBAP success.
Thanks, Rashmi. Thanks a lot, and really appreciate that you have included me in this for this webinar. Thanks a lot.
Okay, so Harsh, can you tell us something? Can you tell about yourself?
Uh, yeah. Okay. So, my name is Harsh Jayara. I've got 16 years of experience in designing and developing and maintaining applications, specifically for the healthcare staffing business. Around 7 years back, I was promoted as a technical project manager, and that was the first time when I started actually getting into the BA activities, though hardcore BA activities, typically building prototypes and performing gap analysis and creating sort of workflows, requirement solicitation, and evaluating solutions. So in last 7 years, I have grown as a BA, and currently, right now, in my current organization, I am working as a product owner.
Wow, wonderful. So it just happened, or you decided to go for the CBAP certification examination?
Well, to be honest with you, it happened. I mean, I was 5 years back. I was not sure that I'm going to be a BA or I'll crack an exam like CBAP, but it happened. I mean, it's kind of experimentation and then adapting to the situations that were happening, the results, and I finally thought that this is something that I should go forward with, and I thought that probably this is some. So I actually had two choices: either go with project management because I was already into technical project management, but business analysis was something that I found very close to my own self, to my soul. So I thought that I'll rather go with business analysis and see what comes in my way. That's how it
All
went.
right. All right. So, and when did you do this CBAP certification?
So I started back in the month of Jan 2021 this year, right?
All right.
Uh, but then yes, but then when I started, by that time I had already read BABOK, uh, the de facto guide that we have. I've already read it a couple of times, and I had made up my mind that I want to go ahead with CBAP certification. Uh, it took me around 5 months, roughly. So I started preparing back in Jan. I
Mm-hmm.
appeared for the exam sometime in June.
Mm-hmm.
My original target was actually to get over with this entire thing by April end,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but at one point of time I realized that I'm not fully prepared for it, and I did want to take a chance. So I took another month to just cement my knowledge, prepare myself all the more, and that's when I thought that probably June is the right time for me to. So 18 June I appeared for the exam, and I cracked it. I was able to. Yeah.
So overall, it was like some 5 to 6 months of preparation, you would say.
Uh, yes, and this is the hardcore preparation that I did, which
Mm-hmm.
is like planned preparation. But as I already mentioned that I have already read BABOK a couple of times in the
Right.
past. So
Right.
back in, I actually started reading BABOK back in 2019. That time, for me, it was more of a novel kind of a thing. Just go through it, just get the concepts. That's all. But when it actually comes to preparation, I actually started preparing it in January this year. Yeah.
Okay. Actually, this was my second question. Next question, rather. So you were working as well during when you were preparing. So, how did you manage your preparation time with your existing workload?
Rashmi, this is actually very difficult, uh, and believe me, it's just a matter of choice. Uh, there are moments in your uh, professional life where you are burnt up for the entire day, and you just want to go ahead and just take good sleep, or you just want to go ahead and watch Netflix, or you want to spend the time with your family. But at the end of the day, uh, you already have a goal in your mind that hey, this is CBAP is something that I want to crack. But being in current situation, you won't be able to do it. Why? Because you are already busy with your office work. But having said that, I mean, this situation is not going to change. Right? It will remain as is. You have to change yourself. And this is probably the first time in my life that I changed myself.
Mhm.
And I took that step, bold step of, I'm not going to watch Netflix. I'm not going to spend time with my family. And they were okay with it. And I thought that probably I'll just go ahead and I study whatever time I have left in the day till 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock midnight probably, and I'm just going to get better from what I was yesterday. That's what it is all about. And you know what, Rashmi, I'll tell you, these exams are not this. I mean, it's about bringing the best out of you, bring you out of your comfort zone, and make you realize that you have some kind of potential, right? And of late, I think somewhere in LinkedIn, I saw this quote that probably you'll something that that has really struck me. It says that success is not about what you have achieved, but what you have overcome in your life. And this is one of those things that I realized, and I'm little proud. I'm not boasting it, but I'm little proud of saying that yeah, I was able to overcome that kind of lethargy and setback kind of laid back kind of attitude. So it's a matter of choice eventually. You, if you have a firm mind, you can do it.
So, you would say that it was strong willpower for your preparation?
Uh, I was, well, truly speaking, I am not even a very strong-willed person, but I think strong will eventually plays a very critical role in defining your goals and making you do some kind of hard work, or it will prepare you actually mentally prepare you to get over there. So yes, uh, initially you may be very feeble kind of person. Like I'm a feeble, I'll call myself as a very feeble uh, kind of person, weak mentality, but in the sense that I'm not a very strong-willed person. But there comes a time in your life when you realize that how far, I mean, all these years I've been procrastinating. There has to be a day when you can really come out of all those baggages that you have had in the past. You can come out of your situation and take a bold step for your own career, for your own self, for your family, right? And yes, that is the time when willpower, your strong craving to do it, that it's that you have, I have to do it, that takes over. And I think yeah, that plays a key role in your in shaping up your career.
Right. So, I think you already answered my next upcoming question, but still, I want to, if you want to add something more. So, what was the most challenging part of your preparation?
uh, See, content-wise, if I talk about BABOK, I was able to relate to all the cases or to whatever the content that is available there in BABOK. I was able to relate to it. I think there is one knowledge area that I was not aware of,
Mhm.
strategy analysis, because that is something that is done in, probably at a much higher level than ours,
Right.
what I've experienced. Uh, but other than that, I think my main problem was that I was not able to focus. uh, I was getting distracted easily. There were lot many times when I was feeling lost. I didn't feel like reading the book at all. So these are the soft factors that I talk about usually. Content wise, there is no problem. I think it's a very straightly written book, very neatly written book, very organized, well organized book. Uh, it may take you some time to get the hang of that actual book, actual content, but I think there are these surrounding factors that actually influence you, when you're preparing for your exam. So in my case, I think it was mostly anxiety and the fear of failure, and indiscipline and lethargy, and call it inconsistency, right? Procrastinating things. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to do it. I have already done a lot of work in my office today. I don't want to do it now. I'll do it tomorrow. Delaying things, these kind of things. And I think this is one. So these are the things that took, instead of, I mean, I was well prepared by the end of April. I mean, in first 4 months I was well prepared, but I think that these kind of things actually took, another month for me to, come get over it, and then come to a point where I've gotten rid of all these negative things
Mm-hmm.
and be prepared for the exam. So I think, all in all, I believe focus is one thing where, focus and willingness to do, is one thing where you are going to, kind of sway whether you want to do it or not. You'll be very confused in your preparation. Off late, I was talking to a couple of people who are CBAP aspirants on LinkedIn, and they actually started with full enthusiasm, but they have left their preparation midway. This is what was happening with me also.
Right.
So that's the most difficult part, I think, being
Right.
consistent and being in perseverance. Yeah.
Okay. And apart from that, any moment where you felt that you were not feeling confident at all, that you are not prepared to give the exam?
Oh, I felt it almost like every 15 days. So I had a study pattern. I used to take, uh, one knowledge area. I used to prepare it for 15 days, and then used to take the mock questions. So my target was that I have to always score more than 80% in all the Techcanvass question banks, in their mock questions. And whenever there was a score between 60 to 70, I used to feel very devastated. I used to feel like I am going to throw it up. I felt like I've lost it, things like that. So all that negativity came into picture. But over a period of 3 months, when uh, I went through all the knowledge areas, I realized that, maybe the way I was measuring my own success, it was based on numbers. It was based on that 80%. But the reality was that every wrong question that I've attempted in Tech Canvas question bank, there was an answer, there was a correct answer, which made me learn the concepts all the more clear. Right? And that's exactly where these stepping stones actually took me to a point where, after 4 months or 4.5 months, I realized that I'm in a good position now. So these kind of feelings are very normal, with every aspirant. I think, we feel that we are going to fail. Uh, it's okay, and that's exactly what keeps you on toes all the time, right? And that's what keeps you motivated also. You just have to stick, to your goal. You just have to focus back to your goal. Come back. I mean, yeah, there's a downtime in everybody's life. You just have to pick yourself from there. Come back, focus on your goal, and then just go ahead and, do what you, always intended to do. And I think that's exactly what helped me in my entire preparation for roughly like 5 months.
Right. So, Harsh, can you explain us the exam day? What was your mental preparation that day? Having said that, CBAP is quite a tough exam, and you already,
I, I'll
yeah.
it's it's a story really. So, well, as I've already mentioned that, I was procrastinating it for a long time. By fourth month, I think I was ready for the exam, but I was not sure whether, I always had a tinge of, doubt, self-doubt, whether I will be able to clear the exam or not. Right. So I was just talking to my one of my colleagues. He's senior to me. So I was just asking him, sir, should I go ahead and, take the exam? And he told me, Harsh, just go ahead and take the plunge. If you think you have been scoring well in your mock exam, just go ahead and do it. I said, okay. And then uh, I think it was a Wednesday, and I scheduled the exam for Friday because that's the max time that you can take, 2 days prior. So it was a PSI center. I went over there in the morning, 9 o'clock, and this guy, the invigilator or the proctor, whoever was available there, he said that you should have proper breakfast because it's a 3.5 hours exam, and don't drink too much water so that you don't just
Right.
go out, right?
Right.
So I took a very light breakfast. I went back. I was already anxious, believe me. I mean, the anxiety is all over me, uh, and I think it happens with everyone in these kind of exams. Right? So in the first 9:30 a.m. in the morning, he walked me through the screens, the interface that they have in the exam, and I was like, okay, let's start. And we started. The first question that popped up was actually difficult, and then I thought maybe I'll skip it. I'll move on to next one. The next one was a case study. All right, and you won't believe that next 40 questions were actually part of case studies, and you won't believe, I was so devastated at that. I thought that I'm going to throw it up. I just want to give it up. I don't want to attempt this exam. That's what I felt like after 40th question. And I think it took me around 30 minutes to just go over those questions. I thought I'll just mark it as a review later, and I'll just move ahead with
Attempt
the
it.
rest of the questions.
Right.
So 41st question was, I think it was easy, simpler. I could relate to it. I started attempting those questions. 41st, 50th ho gaya, 60, 70, 80, 90, and I think in 2 hours, sorry, 1.5 hours, I was able to finish 120 questions. The remaining questions, the remaining 80 questions were of a medium difficulty to easy. I won't call them very difficult. I mean, because I've gone through BABOK so many times, and I had prepared well, but there were a couple of questions. None of the questions were very straight. I think the only question that was very straight was it had to do something with what do you call it? Verification and validation, difference between that. And it was a very easy question. Right? I think that was the easiest question that I could see. Otherwise, every question was scenario based question. So once I completed 120 questions, I checked the clock. We were already, it's already 2 hours. Then I thought that I'll go back and I'll check the remaining 40 questions, case studies. And then I started with the case study. Uh, went through the case studies line by line. And because I was prepared for it, I mean, I've learned it in Techcanvass classes that the first thing that you should do with the case studies is that go with the question first rather than reading the case study. That's what I did. And when I actually saw the question, I didn't even feel the need to go back and
Good
read the case
question.
study. It
Right.
was so simple, and I was shocked. Why was I for so long, for last 30-45 minutes, I've been in I mean, a kind of trauma that my God, I am going to fail this exam. So I calmed myself, I composed myself, and then I started doing those questions. And believe me, all the 40 questions were actually, mostly they were techniques,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but they were easy. They were actually
Right.
easy. My mindset was that these questions are difficult, but
Mm-hmm.
that's not what it was. So I then actually pondered upon those questions. I found them very easy, and I was able to answer them. And then I was left with 30 minutes at last. So I thought I'll just give it a quick review of all the questions, and I went through all those questions, and in and I think these last 30 minutes are very important for you because I actually changed a couple of answers in at least 4 or 5 questions. I changed the answers,
Right.
and I think I did for my own good
Mm-hmm.
because I realized that I'm now in a better position of thinking the right thing, the right answer. I was able to do it, and then I clicked on it, and yeah, I got the
All right.
congratulatory message. So
Right.
that's how it went.
Wonderful. So many a times what happens is the length of the questions actually, make you feel that. it is lengthy question, and you it makes you nervous at the moment. But then you realize that it is actually not. It's just, you have to understand the question. That's it, and it becomes a breezer. Yeah,
Absolutely. And I think
right.
this is one good thing that and I'm sure that not just Techcanvass, but all the vendors, whoever the education provider is,
Right.
they are all doing the same thing. They are providing the right kind of information that these kind of you don't have to really go through the entire uh, text of the question, right? You can just look at the question itself, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of questions, answer for a lot of questions are really, you can easily answer them without
Right.
even looking at the question.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Harsh, a very important question for the aspirants here. Any specific tips and tricks you want to share with your knowledge, with your
Uh,
experience?
yes. So this time around, we'll talk about focus and those soft factors, because this is something that goes with every uh,
Examination.
subject or every exam. But
Right.
I think this is one mistake that I made when I actually started preparing for CBAP in January. I was not looking at the questions. I was just going through BABOK. That's it.
Mhm.
My biggest tip is that once you're done with a particular knowledge area, go ahead and do their question bank. Do the mock questions, go
Mhm.
back, read the knowledge area again, go back to the question bank again, and pick out some questions where you're thinking that you are probably weaker in that area. So don't make it something like once you are done with the entire BABOK, then you're going to attempt the questions. No, make it parallel. Because once you go through the questions, you will understand that these are the kind of questions that are asked in the exam, in the actual exam, and then you are going to focus all the more in your in BABOK for that matter, right? So that's one thing. Make Always make these mock questions part of your study, right? The second thing is practice as many questions as possible. I know I got around 800 questions in Techcanvass in my study course. I had 800, and I think that was sufficient enough because I deemed them as one of the most difficult set of questions. Believe me. The other thing I took was watermark learning for a month, and I think I cracked around 2,200 questions in
Mhm.
1 month. So my overall experience with the question was like I have already attempted 3,000 questions in for preparing for CBAP.
Right.
In a way, I was not even then I was not very confident. Probably that's out of my nature. But I think 3,000 questions, if you have already prepared yourself for, it's a very good deal. I think you are in a good position to just go ahead and crack them. And you know what? In not just in tech canvas, if you're attempting the questions and you're getting a score of 70% plus, and the same thing is with watermark learning also. If you're getting 70% plus score, I think it's a good time for you to just go ahead and take the exam.
Wow.
And finally, you don't let your personal experience come into picture. This exam is all about BABOK. Okay,
Mhm.
there are hundreds of people who have contributed to writing BABOK entirely right, and they know what is right. So there are situations where you will be tempted to think about you will try and either you will fabricate it in your own mind or you will think about your own experience. Right? Don't do that. Go with the book. Okay.
Right.
So if you stick to that, basic principles, you're good to go.
Great. So, practicing the question sets and the BABOK guide to, you should be focused with the BABOK guide. That's
Absolutely.
it.
Don't go beyond Babok. There's one more book that I'd skimmed through, but I don't think it's that important. Babok is the
Right.
ultimate, the de facto guide that you should follow.
All right. All right. So, yeah, Harsh, how is the life after CBAP certification? Any changes in the career or your perspective? It has changed.
Rashmi, I thought that probably right after taking my CBAP exam and once I'm secured, probably I'll start getting the calls from for interviews and all. Well, that was my motive, but
Right.
at one point of time, I realized that probably this was just milestone, a small
Mm-hmm.
milestone to reach to a bigger level. Since I was getting into more into product ownership, I was supposed to take more exams. So in
Mm-hmm.
last 5 months, I took PSM level one. I took Professor Scrum Master level two from
Yeah.
Scrum.org. I took
Mm-hmm.
PSPO level one and PSPO level two also in last five
Wow.
months. So my journey has been like that. But all in all, I think CBAP, because since CBAP is the toughest exam, and somehow I feel lucky that I took the toughest exam right in the beginning, and right after that, all the exams I found was relatively easy for me
Mm-hmm.
in that
Mm-hmm.
context, because uh, preparing for CVAP is actually a daunting task. 5 months of preparation, and you have to be very focused. But PSM and PSPO, this was something that was relatively easy for me.
Mm-hmm.
So the only change that happened was that I've gotten more confident in my approach, and towards I think I take my that entire career transformation that I'm planning right now. I've taken it more seriously now, and
Mm-hmm.
CPAP was the first step that I took. See, because the point is, if you are not going to remain a BA for your entire life, see,
Right.
the fact is I already have 16 years of experience, as I mentioned. I've been in BA role for only 7 years, last 7 years. But my overall experience is actually 16 years, right? So I had to move on. BA was just a kind of springboard for me, right? But now after doing BA, I feel so confident that yes, because I have been doing BA kind of activities in my past. Now I realize that uh, based on this, I'm going to build up now on top of it.
Wonderful.
I think because I'm guessing that somewhere this will be released on YouTube or right. So
Yes.
for CVAP aspirants, or probably for any aspirant who's getting into the BA role, people who have got 1 to 2 years of experience, I think they should actually target ECBA first, and once they have completed 5 or 6 years, they should start targeting CBAP exam. Or if they are in fourth year or fifth year, probably they can look for CCBA also. But you know, I mean, I used to think about CCBA as well, but I thought, yeah, probably another 1 year and I can target CBAP also. So that's what my point is. So in that sense, yes, but then you don't have to settle down with CBAP. Go on. There are a lot of new. I think CPOA is new certification that IAB has come up with, right?
Obviously.
Certificate in
Yeah.
Product Ownership Analysis. I think that is
Correct.
one thing that I'm also looking forward to personally. So these are the things that you. It never has to be a that eventual goal that you have to. It's a journey. You just keep on
Right.
moving, just one step. So that's how it is, especially for me.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And once you realize that it's all about the journey, it's not about that goal. Goal is a part of your journey. Then nothing like that. You feel that growth in your career and in any dimension of the life. So
Absolutely,
speaking about the career, yeah, it works wonderful and it will be like flawless. So
absolutely. That's
yeah,
right.
I think you already answered my next question, which I was about to ask you, that how do you think that CBAC certification add value? So yes, we already discussed about it. Anything else you want to uh,
Uh,
add on
sure.
this question?
Sure. I've seen a lot of people asking me once I completed my CWAP. So there were a lot of aspirants who were asking me, is it really worth it?
Right.
So my point is, it's like an MBBS degree. Okay? If you are suffering from cold and you want to go out and see a doctor, will you just go out and see anybody who has got an experience? Probably you'll look at the degrees first, right? Whether he's MD or not, right? It's something like that. Second thing is, these kind of certifications actually help you get there to that point, but it's your skill set, your experience that actually helps you get it. You can
Mm-hmm.
reach the gate, you can probably pass the gate as well, because you are already a CBAP. But to achieve that ultimate goal, you have to have good experience, you have to have good knowledge, you need to have a sound working environment of learning. So my point is that are these kind of certifications really important? I think yes, definitely yes. It's going to give a big boost to your career. We have already seen that there are, uh, but like when I passed CBAP, there were around 14,000 CBAP holders all across the globe.
Mm-hmm.
Because one thing is it's tough. Second thing is, as they say, only angels fear to trade in their territory, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's like that. So this exam is definitely going to help you bring a lot of confidence, not just in your own personality, in your daily
Mm-hmm.
work also. Your thought process will be more matured because you have already gone through the teachings of BABOK, right, all over. Uh, and from my perspective, I think in last couple of months there were things that I was able to think about that I wouldn't have thought of earlier before CBAP, because of all these learnings that I've had during CBAP. So one is BABOK content, got a lot of learning from that. The second part was my own growth as a human being. When I say that I was a very lethargic, laid back kind of attitude, I was procrastinating things. I've gone through that. I've gone beyond that, right? So it has made me a more professional human being. And since you have already gained a lot of knowledge while studying for the exam, and you are well prepared, uh, to employ those best practices in your current professional life as well. So value wise, definitely yes, it's going to add. And you know what, it's the de facto gold standard for PAs. I mean, there is one from PMI also, but
Mm-hmm.
I think IABA one is more popular, and the PMI one is in
It
certain
has its own.
contexts it may be good. Yeah, it's got some. It's little different from what
Yeah.
CBAP is. CBAP is probably more general. So in that context, I think yes, you should go ahead and think over it, work hard for it, and you will automatically see that not even while preparing, you will obviously see a transformation with your own self when you're preparing for the exam. But once you clear it, that certification will itself show that how much you have earned and how far you have gone in your own professional life. So yes, my 2 cents are, please, if you are planning to, don't delay it. Go ahead. You never know when version 4 is going to come. So version 3 was still easy. I don't. They say because version 2 was actually easy, right? I know that version 2 was easy. Version 3 was difficult, and I don't know. And there's a likelihood that version 4 might contain a lot of agile elements
Concept.
in
Right.
it, concepts, right? So, uh, all the guys who are preparing for it, just take your time, prepare for it. 3 4 months, dedicate that time for your own self, and you will love it. Once you have passed through it, you will love, and you will look back at your own life, and you will see that this is one good decision in my life that I've taken. So, yes, you have to do it.
Wonderful.
You should do it.
Harsh. So wonderful, wonderful, wonderful interview. Thanks, Harsh, for being a sport to share your experience,
Thank you,
and
Rashmi.
all the
Thank
very
you.
best for your career ahead.
Thank
Many
you.
wishes
Thanks,
from Tech,
Rashmi. And my
and
good
many
luck to
wishes
all of you.
from. Thank you,
Thank you, ma'am.
Harsh,
Thank you.
and many wishes from Techcanvass team. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.